Hey, this is Sky, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk about burnout, and if you're self-employed, if you're running a business, you know what I mean. Everybody gets burnt out, and I want to give you some ideas of how to avoid it. So let's get right into it. The first way that I suggest for people to avoid burnout, if you're self-employed or if you're running a business, you own a business, is to start your business for the right reasons. Start your business around something that you like, that you enjoy, where the payoff isn't the profit. The payoff with your business is the work itself. You really enjoy the work itself. It would be something that you would do as a hobby. Even if you were a billionaire and you didn't need to work, you'd still do this just because you love it. And this works even if it's a service or a product that you make or whatever your business is. Do it for the love of the business. Let the money be the byproduct of that love. Anybody who really, really enjoys what they do, and they do it a lot, will become good at it. How good you are at something will generate, that byproduct, which you call money. And the money can be a reward, but don't do it for the money. Do it for the work. And find some work that you enjoy. If you're running a business and you don't like the work, you really don't like it, you don't like the people, all you like is the money, and the money is great, you love the money, I'm telling you, you're in it for the wrong reasons. That's a risky game you're playing, and you're not going to last long. Nobody does play in that game. The people that last in business for 70 years and they don't want to retire, you have to force them to retire. They'll do it until they're dead. Are people that do shit that they love. So that's step one. Step two, to avoid burnout, is to not overwork yourself. It's really tempting as a new business, or even just as an existing business, you've been around for a while, 10 years, whatever, and you're rocking and rolling with your business, to work yourself to the bone. And it feels like for a lot of us that I have the energy and I have the ability now, so I better do it now, because there is going to be a time in my life when I'm too old and I can't put in this type of work, so I'm going to do it now and take a sacrifice. And you think you're sacrificing for your family and your friends, and this is what you have to do in order to live this lifestyle and to put food on the table, and you give all these excuses, and some of those are valid, but you can have a normal work day. You don't have to work 16, 18, 20 hours a day. I've been there. With Sinister, it became my entire identity. Lost myself in it because it's all I ever did. I figured, sure, I'm watching my friendships slip away because I'm too focused and too, with blinders on, just too wrapped up in this business. I'm not socializing enough. I'm not doing other aspects of my life. That's fine. I just need to be able to get to a certain point. Trust me. I've been in business, self-employed, since 1991. That's a long time, 29 years. And I have done many, many, many businesses over that time. Sinister City Motorcycles has been going since the year 2001. And so, I'm 19 years just into this business. And that's one of many that I've run. And I've burnt out on a bunch of them. I've burnt out on Sinister, and it's become my whole identity. And anybody watching this video, anybody that knows me, that's really all they know about me. And that's my own fault. I let some of myself go. I overworked myself. And that leads me into my next point. Point number 3, after overworking yourself, is what I did, and a lot of people do, and it's something that you should avoid if you don't want to burn out, is to make time for other people. Make time for a life. It's important to have a life, to be able to give towards other people and be there towards other people. If your family and friends are watching you from afar and you're just solely focused on that business and you don't take enough time off to be involved in their lives, you're going to miss out. And there is mountains of regret with people who have been in this position where they've, myself included, where I've spent so much time overworking myself and focusing on one thing, to where I kind of gave up some of the relationships around me and just kind of being like, oh, well, I got to do this. I got to get this going. I got to make this happen. And I regret that I didn't build some of those relationships stronger, that I didn't make some of those, I didn't take time to make some of those relationships. One of them is my grandmother. My grandmother died 7 or 8 years ago or so, and she was always my favorite family member. I loved her even more than probably, I don't know, but close to like my own mother. I mean, she was like a second mother to me. She helped raise me. My grandmother was my biggest defender, my biggest fan. I wouldn't be here today making these videos without her. And I got so wrapped up in this company that some of my family, distant family, she lives far away, I could have, should have, would have. I can play this game, and there's a regret in there. But you don't have to have those types of regrets if you can simply take the time and force yourself and say, business can come later. I can always make money tomorrow. But these people may not be here tomorrow. People can go. You know, I mean, life is fleeting. You never know what's going to happen. So take time for relationships. That's important. It's important towards your own self and personal development, mind, body, and soul, but it's important towards your business to take that time off. And on that same track, point number 4, taking time for your family and your friends around you and building relationships around you is to also take time for yourself. Now, this is probably the most important thing. I lost myself in Sinister. And what I mean by that is I kind of gave up some of my own personal identity in order to just be full-time businessman. And I used to have hobbies. I used to have all kinds of various aspects of me that made up who I am, that made up this character called Sky, that you know, that you're looking at here on this video. And I gave up a lot of that. I used to be an avid reader, and I gave up reading for 18 years. I don't think I read a single book. I used to read 2 and 3 books at a time. I'd have mountains of books everywhere, in every room of the house, in the bathroom, the kitchen, bedrooms. I'd have books in the living room. I'd be reading relentlessly, absorbing information. It was part of who I was. Gave it up just to be, and it wasn't a conscious give up that, okay, I guess I'm going to have to give this up now. You just get so focused and little things drop off and you notice that you're just a one-trick pony. And that's all I've been with this company for a long time. So just in the last couple of years, I've made a point to take some of this back. I've been reading again. It's made me feel like I picked up right where I left off almost mentally. And I've been writing books. And, you know, it's another thing that you really need is to have a creative outlet. My work is kind of creative. I build custom motorcycles. I make custom motorcycle parts for people. There is some aspect of the handlebar making that is assembly line that gets boring, but my work is somewhat creative with my metal fabrication and bike building. It's not enough. As a business owner, we can be solely focused on our business all the time, whether it be the operational or the actual work that we do, or the paperwork. But we can just think about that from the second we wake up to the second we go to sleep, and I've been that way. It's important to shut that door and close that, leave work at work, and to be able to think about other things, become focused on something else. That's why a creative hobby is good to have, because you can shut out the whole world and say if you like to draw or you like to sing. Well, there's all kinds of creative shit, you know, and just pick one and do that shit. You're not just doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for your business. You want to be able to stop thinking about business for a while. Let that energy be on its own for a bit. You can get back to it. And when you get back to it, you'll be more powerful. Each time you return to it, you're more powerful. You're building yourself and building yourself. You're building your mind, body, and soul. So it's really good idea to really, as the 4th thing to do to avoid burnout, is to focus on yourself, to give yourself time to be alone, to think about other things than business, to have a creative outlet, exercise, video games, TV, smoking pot, scrolling social media. I could list other things that people use as a way to check out. I'm not talking about checking out. That's not what I mean. I'm going to end on this, and I'm sure a lot of people thought that, oh, well, I love video games. And I had a guy tell me this, who's a good friend of mine, and he loves to play video games. Great, do that. That's a great way to slip yourself into a catatonic state where you're almost just thinking about nothing. That has value sometimes during the day, but that cannot be all you have in order to forget about business. You have to have something else that you actively think about. That brain has to be turning on different topics. You can't just be focused on one topic and then shut that down and then just sit here like a zombie for 4 hours, 8 hours, and then when their alarm goes off at 7 a.m. and you have to go back to work, you snap back into work mode. No, get yourself a hobby, become an expert in other things than just your work. Talk about other things at parties than just your work. Become a multifaceted individual. This will also lead you into other business plans. If you like being self-employed, eventually you can leave one business and let that run on its own and have that be passive income and move to the next. And you can do this with many businesses. So keep cultivating self. I wish that I would have done this. This was my failure, was to not do some of these things that I'm telling you right now, these 4 things. So avoid burnout, be a businessman till you die.